Hey, mamas. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited that you're here. And I really am excited about what we're going to talk about today. But before we talk about that, I have to tell you it's still snowing. It has been so crazy. And I am just done wondering when it's going to end. And I do love snow, so that's nice. At least I can always think about the beautiful snow. And the weather being what it is, I have decided to take matters into my own hands and enjoy some spring, at least in my heart, in spite of the weather. So I've done this in a couple of ways. One of them is that I have the most darling spring themed fingernails right now. I love to find ideas on Pinterest and then try to make the guy that does my nails at this nail salon recreate them. And he does an amazing job. So since you can't see them, just picture the perfect pale pink neutral polish. And then I have these cute, whimsical little daisies on my second and fourth fingers. And daisies are my favorite flowers, and the way he did them, they are so cute and they make me happy every single time I look at them and bring a little bit of that spring fever into my heart. So I love that. And the other thing was today we actually went golfing, not real golfing outside, but we went to Topgolf, which if you've never been there is super, super fun. I don't really know how to golf, so my only experience with golfing is at Topgolf. And I just love smacking that ball, and it is just like a totally mom mindset approved activity because of a few reasons. First of all, it's super family bonding. I went with my husband and our son, Jacob, that also really enjoys golfing, and I have to be willing to make a total fool of myself. Like I swing at the ball and I miss, and I get like no points when my husband gets like 100 points or more. And just, it's not that I'm not hitting it well, but in one of the games, they have these targets that, if you don't get it on the target, you don't get any points. So I'm not that good at aiming for the target. So I just surprise myself if I do. So, but I feel good about that. Like you've got to be bad at things to get good at them. You've got to be willing to be a beginner. I actually talked about this on my son Samuel and his wife on their podcast called Chasing the Dopamine a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I've shared that, but I will share that episode. We talked about trying new things and the dopamine hit that can create. When we're young, we don't expect to be good at things, and we're fine with our little efforts at, the violin or playing piano or learning to bake or, losing a race or whatever it is. And as we get older, we're not willing to kind of like feel stupid as much. And so trying new things becomes a lot more intimidating. But when you do it, it's like awkward and awesome at the same time, kind of equal parts awkward and awesome. So I just love that. And also the food there is so good. And it's my husband's birthday on Thursday, so April 6th. So that's just something that we decided to do to celebrate. And this is not a commercial for Topgolf, but it's a commercial for making your own springtime if you're not having the weather experience that you want to have right now. So this actually leads me right into my topic for this week, which is how to create more positive emotion. Now, last week I talked about noticing the negative, meaning noticing the negative emotions that we have sort of thoughts and emotions running under the surface, just like the constant brain chatter. I've shared that we have about 90 to 95% of our thoughts are repetitive, and about 80% of those are negative. And we just don't realize it. Like from the time we get up in the morning and we're like, oh, I'm still tired. The kids kept me up in the night. what am I going to wear today? We're out of milk for breakfast, and just on and on. And, on it goes throughout the day. And we're late getting the kids to school or getting to work or things like that. And we just think those same thoughts every day in the same way that we, drive to school or work or the grocery store. And so we really don't realize those thoughts are rattling around in there. And if we can bring some more mindfulness to them, we can actually start to experience more positive emotion. And this isn't about like being Pollyanna and thinking happy thoughts all the time. That's not how life is. Life is closer to a 50-50 experience. Like there's good and bad in everything. Like the snow and the cold is hard, but I get super happy when I see big, fat, fluffy snowflakes coming down. It's going to lead to flooding, but this year we won't worry about droughts. Well, I shouldn't say it's going to lead to flooding. It's possible it could, but we've had plenty of warning that might happen, so maybe we will manage it that much better. But anyway, getting back to our negative thought processes that are just kind of always there, lurking and kind of sapping our energy. So I talked in last week's podcast about how we can bring those to our awareness and start to realize that maybe some of them do not need to be there. Now, I know that life provides its share of truly, truly difficult things. And I don't want to brush over that. I don't always mention a lot of hard-hitting things on my podcast, but I know that ongoing caregiving is hard. Having a diagnosis, a medical diagnosis of some kind, even maybe a terminal one, or just something that means you have to deal with ongoing medical care for yourself or a family member, having chronic anxiety and mental health issues, so much that life sends our way is truly sad. But there is so much of life that is every day and that we just need to recognize our thoughts and then decide if we want to keep thinking them, remembering that all thoughts are optional and that thoughts create our emotions. One of the biggest examples of this that I didn't even talk about last week is negative self-talk. So many of us have years of practice under our belts of thinking the same negative thoughts about ourselves, whether it's about our weight and appearance or about our personality flaws as we see them, or thinking we never get enough done, or maybe we don't get enough appreciation and validation, that our life somehow is less than, or that we're not enough, or things aren't how we want them to be. So there's that negative self-talk that can really get to us too. So I don't want to belabor this point, but here's what I want to say. All of this is kind of like if we're wandering the house feeling too cold, but we just comment, oh my goodness, it's such a cold day, and it stinks. When's it going to warm up? And then we don't even go and turn up the heater or put on a sweater or a cozy sweatshirt or sit by the fire or do anything proactive about it. And we don't do that when we are feeling physically uncomfortable. If we're tired, we'll sleep if possible. We're moms, so sometimes it's not possible, but we might take a little break or go to bed early. If we're cold, we do grab a sweater or turn up the heater or do something to get comfortable. If we have a headache, we take some medicine maybe, or, find some other way to relieve it. And when it comes to the part about being cold or hot, I have about a 2-degree of tolerance for my body temperature to change. And so I very quickly put on a sweater, take off a sweater. And so we do those kind of things for ourselves physically all the time. We have to go to the bathroom, we go, we don't hold it in until we're miserable. So that's what I want to tell you that we can do with our thought processes. When it comes to our mental state, we don't need to be suffering unnecessarily. So let's get into it. What is the emotional equivalent of putting on a sweater when we're cold. How can we do that for ourselves? How can we make ourselves more comfortable, more happy, and more energetic every single day? I have some really simple, doable suggestions for you, and I hope that you'll look for some ways to implement these just in everyday life. My first suggestion is to start to notice the good. Instead of like the little irritating things. Like one thing that maybe I've mentioned before that just gets me really irritated is when I have to deal with little ticky errands and things. And that sounds so trivial, but it just annoys the heck out of me. So when I do take care of something quickly in a timely manner, just get it off my list. Like the other day, I had to deal with a return of some Converse shoes from their website. And, I love Amazon returns. It's just like, get on there, it's 2 clicks and, you're done and you run to Kohl's and return it and it's over. Well, it's not like that with Converse. Sorry, shout out to Converse. You should make this easier. But it was like a 20-minute conversation with customer service and their chat and now it's still going to be another process to get the things to the UPS store. And so it's a bit of a process. So I have to, first of all, self-talk myself into just taking care of it. It's fine. It's what I have to do. But then when I do it, like definitely I want to check it off my list and be encouraging. Like, good job, me. Remember last time you had to return a pair of shoes and you waited too long and then you had to beg for mercy for them to even return them. And it was on my list for like, I swear 3 or 4 months, and I finally got it done. So when you take care of things like, maybe just cleaning up the kitchen after a meal, after dinner. After dinner is so nice and so satisfying to clean up the kitchen and have it ready to go the next day. Now, I know we can't always accomplish that. It took me years and like most of my kids moving out to be able to like do that on a regular basis. So I understand if you're struggling with that. And during the day, it can be like, oh my goodness, I just cleaned up lunch and got that squared away. And I have like 30 minutes before it's time to start dinner. It's kind of like never ending, but still we can pause and give ourselves that validation. Like, good job, me. At least I got lunch on the table. Dinner, I've got frozen pizza lined up. So we're good for today. No one is going to starve. Same thing with the laundry. I mean, like, yeah, it might be piling up, but apparently everyone had something to wear today because they all went where they needed to go. And so we can be like, you know what? It's fine. Relax, brain. Laundry's always going to pile up. If it were up to my husband, we would all be stripped down until he got the last final piece of clothing, like folded and put away. But sometimes we tease him about that because obviously that's not happening. And so we just need to get this sense of satisfaction out of what we are able to accomplish, and don't overlook that. And when you are like folding the laundry, instead of thinking of all the mess, or all the constant effort that requires, if you have any size of family, enjoy the warm clothes if you get them out of the dryer, or the nicely folded piles if you're one that likes to fold your laundry just so. There are lots of little opportunities to enjoy little tasks like that and the satisfaction of getting them done. As moms, there are literally so many things we do. And instead of waiting for others to validate us, thank us, give us encouragement, we can just do that for ourselves like 100 times a day when we take care of all the doctor's appointments, and maybe we pay the bills and we're there for our kids, when they walk in the door after school, or to stay up late and work on that homework assignment that we told them not to put off. And, whatever we do, maybe we stay up late for our teenagers and talk to them when they get home, and just reminding ourselves that, hey, that is me being the kind of mom I want to be. And when you aren't the kind of mom you want to be, maybe you just lose your crap with your family at times, then there's an opportunity to apologize and try to set things right and just say, hey, that was not me being my best self. I really, really apologize. And can we have a do-over? Can mom have a do-over? And you're teaching them conflict resolution. So then it becomes another opportunity to feel good about your efforts as a mom. So here's another one. Plan to do something you enjoy. I hear all the time from moms, I don't ever get to do anything for myself. I don't have any time for myself, even to go to the bathroom half the time or take a shower. And I get it. Like, it can definitely feel that way. But this is an opportunity to be proactive, to say, actually, what is it even that I want to do? Sometimes we literally do not know. We just feel like we can't do it anyway. So why even think about it? Whether it's taking time for a bath or going for a run or having lunch with a friend or painting or reading or, quilting, doing some kind of hobby that we have, we may just write that off all too easily. But we could ask ourselves, what is it that I would want to do? If I was going to plan something I enjoy that really gives me those positive endorphins and other feel-good chemicals, oxytocin, dopamine, I don't even know what they all are. I should find out. We'll talk about that another time. But what makes me feel good? Now, sometimes your kids can totally be included in that. Maybe it's watercolor painting and you can just spend some time together being creative instead of sitting in front of the TV. Maybe you like puzzles and they can do a puzzle along with you. Running, put them in the jogging stroller. Having lunch with someone. Go to a playland, if it's cold outside, or to a park and take a picnic and just create that enjoyment of life and make life fun. That makes being a mom so wonderful when we can create a wonderful environment for our families. And again, as you're doing these things that you intentionally decided to do, notice how good they make you feel. One really good, just super easy way to sort of emphasize that positive emotion is to notice when you're outside, especially, that something about being outside, no matter even what the weather, really helps us feel lighter inside, calmer. Now, ideally, you can go to Hawaii, because I am telling you something happens to me the 2 times I've been in Hawaii where I felt the most calm I have ever been outside of maybe like a yoga class. I'm not that into yoga, but you know that feeling if you've done yoga? Anyway, it's like a complete calm. I'm kidding. Like, every day is not a trip to Hawaii, and I'm sure if you live there, life just goes on like normal. But something about being outside in nature, we have a river walk, in our area, that is just so peaceful. It brings peace quicker than anything else I can think of. And it's so simple and it's so free, and you can just do it anytime. Another very quick way to create almost any emotion that you want or any type of energy is to put on some good music. If you need to see your children laugh, put on some dance music and start doing awkward dance moves. Or if you want to create some energy for cleaning time, or change the mood in the car when you're traveling together, music is the best and fastest way to do that. And I know that sounds obvious, but sometimes when we're in the thick of things, we don't pause to think of what is something proactive I could do right now. I think I've used that word a lot today, so forgive me for that. But that's what I always want to encourage you to do, is to be figuring out how to make life what you want it, because it never just happens. And along with listening to good music for, to either energize you or calm you down or anything in between, there are also 100 million, I don't even know how many podcasts and books there are that you can listen to. I just recently listened to a book that just made me so happy, and it was such a simple story. I believe it's called How to Stitch Together an American Dream by Jenny Doan. So she has a quilting YouTube channel, and I do not quilt, but so I didn't hear of it that way. Just a friend recommended it to me, and I was like, oh, that sounds like my kind of story, because I love a good American dream kind of story. So the book was really so simple. She just talked about everyday life and raising her big family and not having much money. And things really started to change when all her kids were raised and she started a quilting business, sort of almost accidentally, just being guided by her instincts, and what's all come out of that is really good. And if you want to listen to the book, I highly recommend listening to that one, because her voice is so cheerful, and I'd say she's probably close to 70, and I just love seeing the whole life story and how things work out and how we're guided in the details. And listening to something like that is so uplifting for me. When I can't sleep at night, I will find something awesome on YouTube that is just, like a talk I need to hear or something like that. So there are so many ways, like when we sit around and dwell on our problems and what's bothering us and keep feeling negative emotions without trying to do anything about it. Going back to my sweater analogy, putting on a sweater when we're cold, putting on good music when we're feeling down is a great thing to do for ourselves. Another thing I'm going to suggest is just to tidy up a little bit. Now, you may be the cleanest person in the world, and you may be, feel like you're a little messy, and like cleaning and tidying doesn't come naturally to you. I definitely fell in that second camp. For all the earlier years of raising my kids, I had to read book after book. That was before we had YouTube and Pinterest to tell us how to organize everything and get us all excited about it and simplify and declutter and all that. But I read a lot of books because I really wanted to learn how to do all those things. And I did learn. It took me a lot because I wasn't raised with learning homemaking skills, and yet that was the most important thing in the world to me, was to have a home that felt beautiful and comfortable and organized and inviting for my family. So I worked on that over the years, and I can tell you from a lot of experience, and I'm sure even just cleaning out a little drawer in your kitchen, or like getting out the silverware and cleaning out the silverware tray and getting the crumbs out of that drawer that I don't know how they get there because you put clean silverware in there. But anything like that, or cleaning up your vertical surfaces, can really do. I said vertical surfaces, I meant horizontal surfaces anywhere in the house, so you don't see that clutter. Like last week, I talked about the silent to-do list and how things just speak to us as we go throughout our day, throughout our home. Get in the car, maybe it needs vacuuming. All those things just kind of weigh on us. And so if we can just say, I'm going to do that real quick. It only takes like 15 minutes to organize a drawer, or to maybe vacuum out our car. We can do a great job, or we can do an okay job, but just tidying our environment creates a real sense of refreshment. There are a lot more I could talk about, and anytime you can use your senses to create a better environment, whether it's listening to music like I talked about, maybe lighting a candle that makes your house smell good, physical touch, just giving someone a hug can really help us calm down and feel better. The last one I'm really going to touch on today, though, is praying. I love to pray. You will probably learn this more and more about me as I talk on my podcast, but that has always been one of my most I can't think of the word. Sorry for the long pause, but it's just something that calms me down and puts me in a better frame of mind. I heard Jody Moore, my life coach, say once that God is always trying to give us better thoughts. And I was like, that is so true. When I pray, I can get calm, confidence, reassurance, direction, guidance. And I know a lot of people don't really get how that comes. And I know it's different for everyone. But honestly, I know it's there, whether it's just a little flicker of hope or, some real powerful inspiration and guidance. I just always recommend praying anytime, anywhere. God is always there. And I just really want to emphasize that. And if that's not a practice that you're used to doing, it's a great one to start. You can start anytime. And it doesn't have to be on your knees or fancy or formal. Just pray. Now, going back to what I said at the beginning, just to wrap up, I know a lot of these things I'm talking about are really simple, everyday things, and that life can have its share of really hard and even ongoing burdens. So at times like that, that's when I say it's also really important to look for the good and the positive and the things to be grateful for and happy about, and even have a sense of wonder and awe about our lives. I want to read you this quote that I came across the other day. When I was in Texas, I bought this package of cute little quotes, and this is one of them. I don't know who L.R. Nost is, but that's who this quote is attributed to, and it goes right back to what I've been talking about. Life is amazing, and then it's awful, and then it's amazing again. And in between the amazing and awful, it's ordinary and mundane and routine. Breathe in the amazing, hold on through the awful, and relax and exhale during the ordinary. That's just living, heartbreaking, soul-healing, amazing, awful, ordinary life. And it's breathtakingly beautiful. So I just want to leave you with that thought, remind you to watch your words, watch your sentences. One phrase I hear all the time is life is hard. And yes, life is hard at times, but let's call out what we're talking about when we say that. Cancer is hard. Exhaustion is hard. Anxiety is hard. Let's talk about those things and not say that all of life is hard, because like that quote I just read, life is also amazing and beautiful and such a growing experience. And we were all made for this. We were all blessed with the kids that we have, the families we have, the experiences we have, the homes we have, all of the friends we have. All of those things and more make life amazing and hard. And we have so much power and control over our emotional lives that we don't always give ourselves credit for. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that you will come back next week. We can talk more about our emotional lives and how to keep making things better in our mom life. And I want to let you know that I'm doing a special on my coaching for podcast listeners. You can get 2 sessions for the price of 1 session. So I'll put some kind of a coupon code in my show notes so that you can come and see what a coaching session is like. And if there's things on your mind that you want to talk about just privately with someone, that is what I'm here for with my coaching. And there's also now a section where you can just do Ask Rachel, and you can just ask me anything. It's anonymous. I don't know who's sending it. And then I will answer online on my website, which is mom-mindset.com. I will see you next time.